Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to make your first million? And today we are with John. John, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, John Ray Broussard from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay, John, what's your company? What you do?
Well, my main company is JRB Holdings, which is a holding company that I've had since 2006 that owns all my other companies.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about your journey as an entrepreneur. Why you decided to open this company in 2006, long time ago?
Well, okay, I have to start back a little bit to 1996.
Wow.
I graduated college, and my whole senior year, we worked on a project for me, which I ended up opening up the first self-standing comedy club in Lafayette, Louisiana, in my hometown.
Oh, wow. That was a great idea.
Yeah, well, it was, I got all the advertising, logos, designs. We did a great jingle. I mean, it was to start a business with all the marketing material free, pretty much, it was great.
So what made you think that this business is going to work? Because it was no comedy clubs there. It's sometimes a little bit risky to be the first one, right? Because every time
Right.
they come, I'm gonna do something that never one had done. It is so unique. Sometimes it's a big problem because if there is no one know this business around, probably there is no market for it. So
Well, what happened was we had a local comedian that was kind of famous in our area. Well, him and my dad graduated high school together, and they lived in the same neighborhood. So they'd have comedy shows every weekend at the Comedy Zone at a hotel. Well, that hotel. So I started doing comedy when I was 19.
Wow. You did it also yourself or as a business?
Well, I started doing comedy because of this guy Ralph Begno, who told my dad when I was younger, like 17, man, John Ray has what it takes to be a comedian. He needs to, and I was most witty in high school. I have somewhat of like total conversation recall. I'm not good with books and stuff because I'm dyslexic. So this AI has made me a genius, right? But anyway, so I just remember jokes. I mean, if I really like the joke, I'm gonna remember it. So I just had a slew of jokes since I'm a young guy. I was 4 years old doing comedy in my living room with all our family.
Wow.
They filmed it, So I ended up, I had a guy give me some great advice. Whenever my dad had an unfinished furniture store at the time, and he custom built my bar in the comedy club. And we went and visit a guy, a real knowledgeable businessman that owned a few restaurants and whatnot. And he was great friends with Ralph as well, the other comedian. And he said, man, son, the only advice I give you is don't pursue being a comedian the rest of your life. He said, I'm so proud that you pursued business, being an entrepreneur to provide for the comedians. And when he told me that, I was like, okay, that's what I'm doing, right?
Wow.
I committed to entrepreneur.
Advice, yeah.
To benefit, I mean, to continue my entrepreneurship, because number one, my mom and dad were self-employed all their lives. We had plenty of ups and downs, but a lot more ups and downs. And, I can remember my father telling me, you don't need to make $500,000 a year. You don't need, you just go work for a company, make $50,000 a year, get the benefits and be happy. I said, you didn't raise me like that. That's not how you didn't raise me to do that, So from that point on, my life has been a journey. I've done businesses with Canadians. I'm now in a partnership with a guy in Australia, which is really interesting. But Yeah, it's so my career went from comedy into oil and gas sales.
Wow,
Where
that's
what
a
I did was
huge,
I started
huge different.
right. I started volunteering for to do comedy shows for the Christmas parties for Chevron, BP, Amoco. You know these guys back in '96 and '97.
Wow.
And so I do comedy. Then I go to bring breakfast, you know, a week later and introduce myself. And everybody would come to the kitchen. It was like instant kind of gratification and fame for me. And I did really well, but I got into it. And my five things that made me successful, you know, all apply to everything I've done, you know, including this. You know, the company that I went to work for was starting a new company within a bigger company. And so, which forced me to still have to get the master service agreements in place to be able to do the work, you know, exchange insurances, W-9s, whatever.
Shaper for business. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, get the E&I numbers, get the LLC, rent the building, get the insurance for the company.
Wow, you did all this yourself.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, a few times.
Few times.
A few times. And look, three of the companies I started went on to sell for over 30 million.
Wow.
It's just I didn't have a part in that. Like, you know, I either sold out early or, you know, got squeezed out or something, you know, as a younger man. But yeah, and I can tell you, you know, it all ends up oil and gas, and now I'm circling around to being a green machine, right? Decarbonizing, and going with green energy solutions.
So this is now what you specialize in, green energy, renewable energy?
Correct. Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow. I just saw John here in United Kingdom. I just saw the news right before this podcast that the new government, they are investing a lot of money in the cost in white turbines, and they are decreasing the funds for oil and gas. The topic of the conversation was, you know, how to make it fair for the people that work in the oil and gas industry, because now they're building these turbines in the coast of England, right, to
Yep.
clean energy, and there are policies here that, you know, the company has to be net zero. Yeah, so it's coming, right? Let's face it, oil and gas eventually is going to finish, right? It doesn't stay forever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there'll always be a need because it's such a source for all the other stuff. Okay. So,
Yeah.
like, for instance, we just, I got the very first carbon credits being sold now from the US. Okay. It's a process. They go in and assess the well before they plug and abandon it. They calculate how many reserves, what it would produce over the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a system, and it goes, and does it have methane, or, you know, what kind of properties is it? And then they give it a stamped approval. They give it it's legit, and you can go to market. So our first ones was 1,400 of these credits. And in the US, they're selling, well, carbon credits in general. We're the first ones to do it on the plug and abandonment side, capturing it. But like one of the other carbon capture stuff, $1 to $5 if you're lucky a credit. Wow. Well, our guy's sorting it out at $30 a share, because he says, man, that's Louisiana sweet crude is where we make our plastics, our vinyls, our polyesters. You understand?
Yeah.
Texas and Louisiana oil, that's why it's so precious, you know? That's why it goes by the standard, TWE or sweet crude, you know, Louisiana sweet crude. Point being, I believe what I see happening is, as I'm entering a project right now, a geothermal project that they're going to be getting out of the bedrock formation in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I'm talking to my oil field guy right after this conversation, and he knows everything about it. He says, "Oh man, y'all gonna need pipelines and so different things. It just, so my point is, I think it's going to everybody will transition as need be, because it's the same. You have a lot of the same principles. You got to
but
these minerals.
Are they really green, or is a little bit of marketing? What is your view on these electric cars out there? Because, I have a nephew, he's like 6 years old. And I was thinking, oh my God, when my nephew is 15 years or maybe 20 years old,
right,
he won't even remember that once cars were using gas and petrol, right? Because is the industry changing so rapidly. However, these batteries that these electric cars have, some people are saying that they pollute more when the cars are not working than actually the contamination that you do with oil and gas. So when we talk about green solution or green energy, I think that we need to look into it more deeply. Is it really true that or we are trying to solve a problem and creating a worse problem?
You nailed it. You just nailed it. Yesterday, I'm having this conversation as well. And what was brought up to me was my daughter bought a Tesla, and to change the battery or to dispose of the battery, it's ungodly. I'm not like a charge. It's like as much as the car or something. He was saying. I don't. So then you just don't dispose of the battery. I mean, what are people going to do? They're not going to pay a second fee of a whole car. I mean, and that's not what's happening. However, just through the grapevine, you hear these things. Some of it's true, some of it's bogus.
Because these batteries also have long lifetime, like all batteries. No, it's like my father-in-law have a Jaguar here outside, right?
Yeah.
And it's from the 80s.
Right.
And it's like a collectible piece, right? But I don't think that these batteries, they're gonna last so long inside those electric cars. So what's gonna happen? Because they are a large piece of equipment. They can be recycled, or once this thing is not working, you cannot do anything with it. Or
right, yeah. What's the byproduct, right? What's left over? That's the big question with all this green, like you said. What's the byproduct? Yeah, okay, it's great you're producing this. This is green, but what about the waste you might be producing?
Yeah, at the moment sounds cool and everybody's buying it. And then here in London, for example, if you have an electric car, you don't pay this tax, congestion charge, you don't pay this ULEX. There are a lot of tax new here. But if you have electric cars, you don't pay any of it. So now everybody's buying those electric cars to save all these taxes, right? But
let me explain that to you. Another great point. I'm so glad you're saying that. Okay, so what's going to end up happening? Okay, this is the theory is, you hear it from pretty good sources. I talked to a lot of state representatives, senators. I'm a former planning and zoning commissioner and parks and recreation commissioner for where I live, just as my give back to the community, But what's going to happen is people ask me about the carbon credits, and the theory is by 2030 something, okay, whoever's driving a fossil fuel vehicle, a gas vehicle, still will have to. Okay, it'll be like leasing a car. They give you 15,000 miles a year, right? Anything above that, they charge you out the butt. Boom.
Wow.
Same thing with this is going to be. They're going to give us a certain amount of mileage a year that we can drive, and anything above and beyond that, we have to purchase carbon credits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just like the airline companies do, and this is a worldwide thing. This is nothing. People say, well, you don't think Trump will say no to that, or they'll kick it out? Well, it's worldwide. I mean, it's an agreement. It's this big agreement with most people, that it needs to be done. I mean, we have to decarbonize what's out there. And, as much as I was an oil and gas person, I'm biased as to some of the damages caused that are saved because, however, I do believe in this green energy. And I think there's a lot of, like you said from the start, there's so much opportunity coming with it. Everybody's worried about, oh, AI is going to take all these jobs. No, man. I use AI to my advantage. You understand? Like, that's my buddy. I don't look at it as somebody. I guess just because I appreciate it so much being dyslexic, not being diagnosed dyslexic. My son was, then I was. Struggling through school, but yet smart as a whip. I teach all the classes, and we all go take the test, and I'd make a D, and everybody else would make A's. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah,
but how
it
sad
just
was
learn
it?
different, right? It's not like
Yeah,
it's have just a different way of learning. This is what a dyslexic person is, right? It's not.
yeah.
It's not. It just that learn different. That's it.
That's it. That's it. And so, who'd have known AI would have been such a great thing for somebody like me? But it is, because finally I get to read and see what I am capable of producing, right? Because just because I switch numbers around, the teacher should have known that. Look at that. The kids just switch the dang numbers around. No, but they don't do that, right? Now, F or whatever. So yeah, no, AI is tremendous. I love it. I think it's
Oh yeah. Do you remember, John, how long it used to take to write an official letter? Yeah. The other day, oh my God, I had to check. English is not my first language. I have to check each paragraph. Sometimes
yeah,
days to write this letter, for business, contract, whatever. And now I went to my team and said, look, I'm really need to write this letter. I'm struggling. And my team told me, Harry, do you see this thing, ChatGPT? I said, no. I said, come, let me show you something. And the whole thing wrote the letter for me, and I couldn't believe it. Well,
yeah.
I couldn't believe how so how good is it? And then, John, there is the other side, like how to, we have a movement, we call it Mary Diamond, that he was in the movie The Secret. He had a partnership with my girlfriend Lily, and they have a movement which is called Global Conscious Entrepreneurs, right? So to how to lead the entrepreneurs, right? To be more globally conscious, right? And we discovered our research, right, that employees prefer to get paid less if they work in a company that look after the environment, that recycle, and they save energy, and they use clean energy, and so on. We also discovered that you have more customer retention, right? Because your customers, they're getting very savvy, right? Especially the millennials, and they are aware in the planet that they are living. So they're more aware what type of product they buy, what is the source of the product, and they are getting very aware of that, right? It's a generation that use a lot of technology, right? But they also understand that that they buy products that are recycled, they buy green products and so on, right? So the question is the following: because in the end, oil and gas, there are some products that we still gonna need oil and gas. That's it's no for moving the cars, but there are the plastic that we need, or
Paints.
the lot of things come from oil and gas, right? So and then I have the U.S. policy has been all life, right? Like buy the oil and gas from someone else, and let's keep our reserve untouched.
Right.
Because this thing is gonna finish, yeah. So, and you guys now are accessing your own stuff in United States, or not really? Still is like a block, and let's keep buying from somebody else, and let's keep ours just in case.
I personally don't. I don't like it. But I'm somebody that am globally conscious, and I've spent time in Brazil. I spent a lot of time in Aberdeen, Scotland. I actually started a division of a company there, and then now I'm getting to know Australia. But trying to do certain things, I had 2 million barrels of oil sold to Hong Kong from the U.S.
Wow.
My guy couldn't, my partner on the other end couldn't get the deal to close. I had everybody closed on my side, but that was a fun time. You know, I think those times are gone because that was right after they lifted the ban and started letting us export oil. I don't know. It's just, yeah. So I'm like half and half, you know.
How about John? You know, there is a beautiful business out there. Yeah, I got friends that that they buy land in Ecuador, and they plant trees, right? And these trees they grow really, really fast, and they can use these trees to to work with companies to offset the carbon footprint. And also they use the wood also for furniture or whatever, and then what happen with those trees is that they're specific type of tree. I think the name is teca, or I don't know, but my friend is telling me, Harry, there's a lot of money there, man. You just buy this land, this tree grow fast like crazy, and it's a good for the environment. It produces a lot of oxygen. You can use it as wood as well, and land over there is very cheap, right? And on the other hand, we have United States and UK, right, pushing all these policies to offset everything that the companies do, right? But also, there are some companies that they're doing this for real. There are some companies that are doing this for marketing.
Right.
So where is the gray line? At the end, the companies that are doing for marketing, they don't realize that the consumers are getting very savvy, and they will find out.
Right.
If you're doing it for the money or if you really believe in it. But still, it's if you use it for marketing, the companies save a lot of money marketing using these policies, right?
Yeah, you know, in a lot of cases, I see, like, okay, so it's so funny you mentioned that. I was in Brazil in 2017 looking to move mahogany wood. Now, we had options to lease land and with trees already growing on it, from pine to this mahogany. Mahogany is what we were looking for because they have this beautiful, it's a rattlesnake mahogany is what is one of the species. Anyway, guess what? Trying to get it through customs in the U.S. because of the termites over there in Brazil. They're so big. They don't even have they have cement posts everywhere in Brazil. No wood anywhere. The houses aren't started with wood or structured because of the termite situation.
Wow.
Well, the last thing they want to do is have an invasive species of termites enter the U.S.
Coming to the U.S., yeah.
So, but before that, we thought it was going to be easy to get wood here. No, but you don't think of those things, right? We don't think the average person don't think of that. Thank God somebody does, because
So the whole there is a big journey stay with the sustainability, and so what message do you have, John, to companies out there, right? That they say, you know what, I don't care about recycling, and I don't care. I'm going to little bit deeply the concept, right? Because sometimes some people say, okay, Harry, let's talk about the people doing it for marketing. The people that are doing this holistically, that they understand and that's the value, align with the value of the company. They don't only recycle, they don't only use clean energies, they also enroll the suppliers in how they can be more green and how they can be more sustainable. They enroll the workers as well. They enroll everybody in the vision, and also they do social things, like they contribute to charity. They do some work in the local community so they can grow. They have a policy of, they hire the same amount of women, the same amount of men, and they hire the people for what they know, regardless if they are Chinese, black, or whatever. So there is, or there is another companies, right? That what do you think of these companies that they're claiming that they have renewable energy, right? And all the poor are white males blonde with blue eyes.
Right.
Does it
Yeah.
sound good to you?
Yeah, it sounds good. I know exactly what that's funny. Yeah, it's true too. I know there's recently been some news of somebody doing that, marketing of green energy, but it's taken so much other toxins to create what they're trying to create. It's
Yeah.
not worth it, you know?
Yeah.
Like you said that earlier. Now we have something, I gotta say this, okay? We have something out of it's a special grass with more minerals than even our grain here in the US for cattle.
Wow.
We could harvest it once every 3 months, cube it up, bale it up for cows, for cattle. In the future, this is going to be a big thing,
Mm-hmm.
Our alfalfa program for the U.S. this year is shot because the lack of rain, or it's a bad year for a lot of the different crops,
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that could be easily grown in desolate areas. It doesn't take a lot of water, So, and I'm only saying that because when you brought up the tree,
but John, this
scenario.
grass is good as well because you can cut it and can be used as energy, right?
Well, yeah, that's what they cube it up to. Their plan is not to burn it for fuel. However, they can do that.
It's
main
energy,
mission,
yeah?
they can do both. The main mission now until they need it, as other forms of green energy maybe don't turn out so good or something, right? But their main mission is to feed the cows a better, and they've proven that what they're doing with these cows, the reason why obesity is so bad in the U.S. is because they take these cows 2 months before they got to slaughter them and just put them in one stall. They don't run around nothing, and they just eat
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
and then I saw a TV show that they gave in US. They were giving the steak to the people with the cow that was fed only with grass, and it was all organic, and the cow was walking around and free. Yeah, and they gave the steak to the people there in US, and they didn't like the meat. Say I don't like it. So you get used to the meat that these animals that been stressed and with all chemicals and so on, that when they give you something pure and natural, they do a blind test. They didn't like it.
Yeah, that's exactly. I agree.
So I think it's a lot of things going on with the renewable energy, and there is a lot of marketing, and there is, like, for example, now UK, which we changed the prime minister. Now we have a new one, and the first thing that he's doing is talking about renewable energy. Okay, we're removing this gas and oil, and we building all this air turbine in all the cars, right? It sounds amazing. We give you a lot of publicity, right?
Right.
But can he really done it? They said no. They were projecting UK free carbon footprint for 2030, and the people said there's no way, not in a million years, that they can that we can achieve that, right? So
I agree.
So it seems like every time the new politician comes to town, right? It comes with the same changing laws, changing this, changing that. Let's go and go Greek and everything. But how many people really believe it? How many people are doing this for real? Or how many people or have you seen the progress in the sector? I believe in green energy a lot. I got a degree in chemical engineering, right? And
good.
I do understand, right? The whole impact in the environment and the whole impact that we have to do something. But I think that, and you've been in business, you know a lot about sales and marketing, right? And I think that a lot of company has said, you know what? This Let's Go Green thing is amazing for us to get more exposure and more things. Let's do the least as possible, and let's claim a lot, and let's do the least as possible, and we're gonna get a free advertising and a lot of free publicity. And this is not sustainable, right?
Right. But yeah, but the perception and what people perceive as real is real to them.
Yeah.
So it's a yeah. I think I'm just always been. I had this whole American Indian, Native
Oh,
American
and
Indian.
you are an oil and gas person. Let's start from this, yeah. Which
Yeah,
I never met. You're the first oil and gas person that is transition from oil and gas to clean energy, and this is very rare to find.
yeah. Well, I guess, but now my career has led me here because what I was doing was plugging and abandoning wells. I was selling plugging and abandonment of the wells because there's been a huge, ever since the BP spill, get these platforms out of the Gulf of Mexico or send them down to be reefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and as it's progressed and gets known, well, I finally meet some people that are trying to get the carbon credit thing worked out because it will help a lot of oil and gas people. It's very friendly because a lot of these small mom and pop oil companies can't afford the taxes even, but they can't afford to plug their well. Well, now they'll have money to plug their well and a little bit to go home with.
So then, John, how is somebody is listening this podcast and they think that they need a help from a consultant of or some of your expertise, right? In how to get how to get carbon credits or or what they can do to make the company more energy friendly, right? So how they can contact you, how the process work?
Yes. Well, first of all, my email, I'm John Ray Broussard. I'm going to keep this email. It's no dots, nothing. John Ray Broussard at gmail.com. Okay. And that's the easiest way possible to reach me. My name and Gmail. Can't forget it. I do have other email addresses, but that's just the simple one that I always go to. So I'd like to tell you about my 5 things if you're.
Yeah. I'm going for it. I'm going for it now. This is the last piece of the pie. The cherry on top of the pie is this one.
Right.
What are the 5 steps to make your first million?
For me, the number one thing was consistency.
Brilliant.
Number 2, persistency. 3, I wake up at 4 a.m. every morning.
Wow.
I've done it for years. Because I was told that that's what millionaires do, so I just did it. So I go work out in the mornings, and I come back home. I have plenty of time, take a shower, and go back off to work. Then there's just my commitment to excellence and having a routine. My commitment to doing the best I can do every day. And to have a routine. I need a routine. My routine starts at 4 a.m. And as long as I keep that routine. Now, do I sleep late sometimes? Of course I do. Do I hit the snooze? Yeah. Do I wake up at 4 on the weekends? A lot of times, yeah, but I don't get up. I'll go back to sleep. But yeah, for me, it's just about commitment to consistency, persistency, and a good routine. The routine wraps up the 2 other ones.
Yeah. But then to have this routine needs a lot of discipline, yeah? Because, by you being an entrepreneur, yeah, I'm telling you because I'm not a morning person. And, when you can control your time, the best idea that you have is like, okay, like, for example, I don't put alarm clock to wake up, right? Because, I own my business and, I control my own time. Yeah. But how, from where you find this strength and this discipline, because even you that control your time and you can actually wake up anytime you want, and you decided that was a good idea to wake up 4 a.m. Monday to Friday. Do you think this is a good idea?
Well, okay. Well, I guess I forgot this part too. When I was 18, my first job I had was working for UPS at 3:45 in the morning. I had to be up at 3 to get to work for 4:30. So, 7 years of doing that, 5 days a week, 7
Build the
years.
habit, yeah.
Yeah, it becomes natural. And then when I heard, Think and Grow Rich and, all these different, Anthony Robbins, they all talk about
Absolutely help you a lot.
it's 4 a.m.
Absolutely help you a lot. Is when you wake up early, right? You have time for yourself, right? And because no one is around. I know because sometimes I work in this time, yes, and it's amazing because no one is around, so you can actually think. You can actually think. You can actually take ideas. You working 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It's beautiful. After 7 a.m., people wake up. Now, they
in a rush.
You cannot think anymore because you have to interact with people. Hey, Harry, this meeting, let's do this, let's do that. So you cannot focus, right? So I applaud you and I admire you for you still working 4 a.m. Or you still doing it?
Yeah, I'm still doing it.
Oh my God!
I look forward, but I look forward to it. I go to.
You look forward to it?
Well, because it's my time. Like you said, it's my time for me.
Exactly.
I meditate. I while I'm working out, I listen to different inspirational things.
The only
or whatever.
time that is time for yourself, and then John, as entrepreneurs, we have to work on ourselves, right?
Right.
Because we have to all these, this stress and this lot of negative bag, like you sharing very in a very dynamic and polite way that this deal that okay, I have this deal on my side already done, but it didn't happen in the other side. This is very frustrated. So you're laughing, but it's all you. Sometimes you, because I've seen it, you put all the work, everything is ready on your part, and you can make a lot of money with one transaction, and the other part didn't come in. And then but between 4 to 5 a.m. you have this time for yourself, so you can let go of all this frustration, and then bring clean energy for you, and keep smiling, and keep bringing good deals to your life, right?
Totally. Totally. Yeah, that's great. And I forgot these two. All right. I got to give credit not only to consistency and persistency and waking up, but emotional intelligence. I started studying EQ, which is emotional quotient, which is emotional intelligence in the workplace. And now what I'm doing is working on presenting it to teenagers in high schools, because I think that's where we needed that information the most. Learn how not to be upset about everything you hear. It's a choice, like we can only control what we have inside of us. Any outside things like the weather, we have zero control over that. You could pray it to death, right? And it ain't gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and then, John,
it.
we need to bring the teenagers and the new people more in to create more awareness about emotional intelligence, because what happens is you don't do anything with a graduate that have the maximum in math, physics, whatever, right? So they are a genius and they have the high marks in the school, but then they don't have any communication skills. They cannot talk to anybody. They don't have
no empathy.
This is not useful for business. This is not useful, not even for work. So companies more and more are looking at okay, what actually are what is the emotional intelligence, and when I did project management for a while, and it was those people that have emotional intelligence that I would put them in key positions in the project to make sure the project finish on time and within budget, because they were articulated the whole structure, because people go and talk to them, and I start to spot them, when we used to go for Friday for a drink in the company, right?
Yeah.
And I spot few people that they were funny, they were like to dance, they like to party, and I'm thinking these guys are friends with everybody in the office. Everybody loved them in the office. So to a project, if I put in a key position, everybody will go and talk to them because they like them already, right?
That's perfect. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they say nowadays IQ gets you the job.
Yes,
EQ
I
gets
agree
you
100%.
and EQ gets you the raise.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So
Yeah. So what else can we do with the teenagers out there to get them more aware about emotional intelligence and what the teenagers can do out there to improve the game?
you know, there's this thing. They've through a series of studies, they've learned that the left brain is the non-emotional brain. Okay, it's the masculine side. It's the logical side. All right. The right brain is the emotional brain. It's the feminine side. It's that little devil that tells you can't do it when you're trying to set a goal for yourself. Okay. You need both brains, but in what I teach police officers and first responders, bring it left with your right. My whole course is it's called Bring It Left with Your Right. By squeezing your right hand, you direct it left brain because it's controlled by your left brain. You make your left brain dominant. You want as much non-emotional, especially if you go into the police officer gets the call, it's a code 4 or whatever. They know they might see some crazy stuff, right? Why not try and prevent PTSD using your emotional intelligence by just simply, because it triggers the left frontal lobe. I mean, why weren't we taught this before? I don't know. But
John, tell us a little bit more about your webinar then. How what are you covering in this webinar?
Oh, my webinar?
What are you teaching? What platform you teaching this? Tell us a little bit more about this course that you just shared with us.
Okay, yeah. So I do webinars on this on two different podcast on 2 different platforms. One is on training.com. That's kind of easy. And the other one is on X, the letter XLR8, the number 8, biz.com. XLR8biz.com.
And what do you cover in those trainings? In these?
I cover just from, teaching people when they to manage their emotions through thought awareness. Okay, first awareness, mindfulness, and then thought regulation. I didn't know that we could control our thoughts till a long time after. Nobody told me I could control my thinking, so I used to, whatever I was thinking, I thought that's what I was supposed to be thinking. But no, that's not right. If you in this worry thought and you get caught up in it's repetitive, there's a way to stop it. It just teaching them that they don't have to respond or react in such a crazy way to things they hear or maybe have misheard. How many times have people sent that email? They should have never sent it. I want to get them teenagers there. I want to give them enough capability, hopefully, to stop that first thing, to hesitate. It's a big thing I say, hesitate on everything before you articulate.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And with that note, we're going to conclude this podcast on Unstoppable. Thank you so much, John, for your time. Yeah, we know your time is very valuable, and we have an amazing chat about the topic that we definitely should look into it, right? Because we all want you to be a global conscious entrepreneur. We want you to look after the planet, but we want you that you do it for real, right? You don't want that you use that as a marketing tool. Because let me tell you something, the client is getting very savvy nowadays. And if you're not doing with your heart, with your vision, with your mission out there, the consumer will find out, your employees find out, everybody will find out. So make money and do good. And on that note, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for all of you following us, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like John break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.